important thing that we work very close with the government. And up until now, the interactions with our government bodies has been very positive.
What is that you're automating, and what's the tech behind it? What is the economics of running an electric tractor? Where is it saving cost?
So what inspired the founding team of Bullwork to get into this space? And also, if you were only getting into the EV space, the two-wheeler segment seems a lot more lucrative. How did you end up into the off-highway vehicles segment?
Oh, well, I think it's a very interesting question. So the way we were formed was that I was discussing. So we were
There's 3 co-founders, Vinay, Hemant and myself.
Okay.
So Vinay and I, we were discussing about some other project related to construction machineries, and this was during the COVID time. So we were seeing a lot of cases where they were using autonomous UGVs to do spraying, just to do sanitization, right? So that was the time when we were just discussing one of the Chinese UGV machines, and that kind of kick-started this question. Okay, what happens if we scale it up? Can we do anything more useful with that? That was like the seed ideas that kind of started, and that's when we kind of contacted Hemant as well. So Hemant is a veteran of EV space. So he had been with Ather when they were young, and then Ola as well. And he was still in Ola when we contacted. So just to get an idea, right? Okay. So that was the sort of I would say the seed for discussion on using electric vehicles for utility segment. So when you talk about utility segment, these are machineries or tools generally used for doing all sort of activities. It could be in agriculture, so like tractor, like the number one utility vehicle that is there.
True.
Apart from that, there are several categories of vehicles in agriculture. Utility space also kind of looks into construction, mining, industrial automation. So these were the sectors that generally the utility vehicles are used. So we started going down that rabbit hole, trying to understand where the current tech is, what it could be, right? And something that really sort of made sense to us was this utility vehicles. The guy operating it doesn't care if it is electric or diesel, right? For them, it's a tool, and as long as the tool is performing well and can save costs to him, right? That is something very interesting for him.
True.
So that kind of prompted us to do some back of the envelope calculations. So we started modeling what an electric tractor could be, how an electric tractor could function in an EV sort of a setting, the advantages that we can get from it, and more importantly the business plan for the customer. So if a farmer starts using electric tractor, what are the advantages that he will see, right? Those were the fundamental questions we started asking, and a lot of answers that we got were very positive, right? And it was such a moment for us, like, why isn't anyone doing it, right? So these were like the prompts that started us getting into this segment, and the more we thought about it, the more we worked on it, the more it made sense.
Okay.
Right. So that's the sort of the backstory behind Bullwork. We said yes, I think this is a space that is there. More importantly, as you rightly said, there are a lot of volumes for 2-wheelers and 3-wheelers, right? I mean, that has been the segment that exploded after 2015.
True.
But what we felt was this utility space, be it tractors, be it a lot of these agri machineries, they are in a stage in about 4 to 5 years time, they would become mainstream, like how 2-wheelers and 3-wheelers are right now. And we felt like we should hold up that mantle for making that happen. So that was one of the the thoughts behind starting Bullwork as well.
Okay, but okay, so you told that machinery doesn't really matter on what it's running on until and unless it's saving costs.
Yeah, and performing well. Right?
Yes. So Ajay, let's take us through
Mm-hmm.
what is the economics of running an electric tractor. Where is
Sure.
it saving cost?
Sure.
Because a lot of it matters on the amount of usage also, right?
Exactly.
So at what scale is it making profits?
Exactly. So this is a very interesting problem altogether. Let me give like two different examples for this. One, we'll take a machine like you have a farmer who is using a conventional ICE tractor, diesel tractor, and it's an internal combustion engine tractor. So typically like a 35 HP to 40 HP, these are the machines which are most sold. So today they end up costing anywhere between 8.5 9 lakh rupees. Depends on what make you're going with.
Okay.
What features comes with it. So so about 9 lakh rupees is assume that it's on the road final price that he has to pay. And every hour this machine is used, the tractor is used, it consumes close to about 4 liters of diesel.
Okay.
So typically a good year for a tractor owner or rental guy is about 1,000 hours of operation a year. So that is a good optimal usage of the machine, right? So 1,000 hours times 4 liters an hour, right? That's close to 4,000 liters. Just to keep the maths simple, let's assume 100 rupees per liter for diesel. So that's 4 lakh rupees just on the diesel cost.
Operation.
So you're buying a new machine at 9 lakh rupees. At the end of the first year, you have spent almost half the cost of the tractor just on the diesel, right? Then you have all the other costs that comes in. You have to pay the driver. You have initially the cost of maintenance and service is less, but that quickly adds up because you have a lot of moving parts in a tractor. And people who buy these machines, they don't baby their machines. They are rugged used machine, right? So and this farmer, down 3 years, he starts replacing his clutch plate assemblies. So every year he spends about a lakh and a half rupees just on service and maintenance, right? So now you see that cost is suddenly starting to add up. 4 lakh rupees, I mean that cost is not going to go down. So
that's a fixed cost.
That's a fixed cost.
Yes.
And if the diesel price increases, that cost is going to go up. And now you have additional maintenance cost that is happening. So a lot of these quickly add up. So when we look at transitioning to EV, right, that 4 lakh could be as low as 50,000 rupees if depending on the rate of electricity that you're paying. Anywhere between 50 to a lakh, within that we'll be able to manage. Even if you're paying commercial rates close to like 20 rupees a unit, right? That is very high. Usually you pay about 15 rupees a unit on the commercial rate. That is almost like 3 lakh rupees saved per year just on the diesel, right? And for these farmers, it's every penny that they save, every paisa that they save is a paisa that they're earning.
True.
So that quickly adds up. So if you're looking at 7 year time, 7 years is a good time frame for these type of utility vehicles. Now that's close to like 21-22 lakh rupees, right? So all in all, if you look at the total cost of ownership sort of a way, the electric tractors will be about 50% cheaper to operate, to own and operate the entire life cycle, right? That is significant. And there is also a second angle to this, right? So if you are a farmer and you don't own a tractor, let's say you just own about 2 acres of land, and you find these type of farmers everywhere.
True.
Right? So you generally rent a tractor to do your field work. And what you end up paying is about 1,000 to 1,200 rupees per hour of operation. Right? So if I own the tractor, I rent it out to you. So you pay me about 1,200 rupees, in which I'm about 400 rupees I'm paying for the diesel
itself,
altogether. So going electric and reducing this all the cost of operation, right, means that the tractor that you are about to rent will be cheaper, right? And the more cheap is it to operate, right, the more you would want to operate.
True.
Right? So so this is the case in which the cost is driving how much technology or mechanization that is happening. And if the other angle to this is there is a very solid study that has happened, which basically says the amount of mechanization that is happening in the field is directly proportional to the yield that is coming out. So more people mechanize, the more productive and higher yield they'll get out of their field. So this means that we want to have a solution where it is cheap to operate. So more people will end up using, and the entire ecosystem's productivity is going up. So that is one of the, I would say, the key benefit of going electric.
But one big question with electric is that while the operation costs are low, the upfront cost of owning an EV is high.
True.
So have you considered how you can, get through this hurdle? Because I mean, a battery as a service, or any type of innovative ownership models
I think
might have to come up.
Yeah. So definitely, look, this is like a chicken and egg sort of a problem, right? The initial costs are high because if you just look at the tractor, if you just look at our beast, we have about 1/3 or 2/3 less number of parts compared to a conventional ICE tractor, right? So the actual BOM of the machineries will be a lot lesser compared to a traditional diesel engine. So where the large cost that comes in is in the battery, as you rightly said, right? So that has always been the sort of the bottleneck for EV adoption. You want a higher performance, you want similar performance to a diesel engine tractor. I mean, you want to till 5 acres in the day, you still need to do 5 acres in the electric tractor. You don't want to compromise on that.
True.
That means you need to have a larger battery energy that is stored. So there are multiple ways in which we are exploring how we can do that. See, one is, even if the cost of the upfront payment is higher, the sort of recovery that is they are having is they will end up recovering that amount within about 2 years span. As I said, right? So 3 lakh rupees per year that they are saving just on the diesel. So within 2 years, they are almost 6 lakh rupees is just on the battery. So that's the sort of the cost differential that is already captured. Second thing is we are trying to, our machines, for example, the tractor looks like any regular tractor, but if you cut it half, cut it in open and cut it in half and see, the entire architecture is very different, right? So we had the privilege of asking a lot of first principle questions, right? What is the correct and the best, the most efficient driveline designs that we can have, right? So it's not. So there are strategies in which people want to take an existing tractor, throw away the engine, put an electric motor, retrofit it, right? That is really not the right solution going electric. You need to optimize and kind of make sure that every watt hour of energy that is there on the tractor is completely utilized. So we started with completely ground up designs. So all our drivelines are very unique and they are very highly efficient, and they are all sort of drive-by-wire ready. So that means it's easy to automate for us. Now, secondly, so that also means that we can start reducing the cost of using less number of parts. So we can be on par with the diesel engine tractors. And the price differential we are seeing right now is about 30%, right? So the electric tractor that we initially will come out will be in the range of about 14 lakh rupees or so. But with volumes, we can bring that cost down under 11 lakh rupees, right? That with a significantly large battery pack. So to answer your question, so one is we want to keep the cost down so that even without any of these other financial juggleries, the person will own the tractor and will still start seeing the benefit. Second one is obviously all of our machines are connected. So everyone, the customer knows where the tractor is, how much it has, where it is right now, how much it has run. All of this data is already there. So we are trying to convince a lot of financial institutions. We are working with them so as to kind of take the battery out as a separate entity as well. So that's on a different. So it's tractor plus the battery.
The battery is
additional. Yes. So that will kind of alleviate a large portion of the upfront cost that will come in. But for me, for mass adaptation to happen, I feel like we just need to make sure that the cost of the battery goes down, and when people start seeing the benefit, they don't see our farmers are not stupid. Actually, that was something, a lot of people have that misconception. Okay, they are illiterates, they don't understand technology so much. But
They understand finance.
They understand it a lot better because they are working with it day in and day out, right? So they see the benefit of a higher cost, but the higher returns that they are getting. So actually the exact answer to that your question is we want to keep the costs down so that the whole thing comes out as a package, so that there is no other bits that is there. But if you can finance the battery separately or the battery plus the tractor separately, we are working towards to that solution as well. There are other categories where there are pay per use sort of a thing. But unfortunately for tractors, that doesn't make a lot of sense at the moment.
Because the downtime would be higher.
The downtime is higher. So unless that entire ecosystem is like completely there, but once that ecosystem is fully matured and developed, which we see in the next 3 to 4 years to happen, then lot more options can come in. So a person can just buy the tractor without any batteries, get the battery from a separate vendor and have it integrated. So lot more options will open up, and that is something that we want to see as well.
But as a fresh entrant into the industry, take me through the prototyping phase. At least take me through the journey. How did you decide that what's the first product that you're going to build? And what was the prototyping phase like? And now that you're entering the market, how will you be able to tap into the agricultural market? Because if you see, the agricultural market in more than one way is sorts of tier 2, tier 3 cities. It's not in the tier 1 cities.
Yeah, exactly.
But the EV industry as a whole has not been able to filter into these industries.
True.
How have you factored that in also?
Good.
First, we'll start with the prototyping.
Okay, we'll start. Okay, actually, maybe we'll end up starting from the other end as well. So what happened was, as I said, so we Hemant, Vinay and myself, we started kind of asking these questions. So the business case made sense, right? The product made sense. Obviously, there is no validation yet, right? Everything is in like Google Sheets at the moment. So then we started then talking to people so that they can work with us both on investments, and we were looking for partners to kind of make this into a reality. So and we were very clear at Bullwork that we wanted not just some person or an entity to come in and put money on the table. We wanted to have partners with us who could also kind of open up this market for us. So that is when we started discussing with Mr. Mahesh Shetty. So Mahesh Shetty is the managing director of a large group of companies called Multiplex. So Multiplex Group is in the agrochemical space for more than 5 decades now. So they are they are very well.
They already have the penetration.
They have the penetration. Then more importantly, they have the sort of understanding and the requirements that is there. So Multiplex Group, all in all, has about more than 4,000 dealers in India and abroad as well. So we knew from the start, selling a tractor to a farmer is very different from selling a scooter to a urban youth, right? The sort of marketing strategy, that the path we have to take itself is very different. And if you ask a farmer, how do you buy a product? They generally buy a product either based on recommendation, so someone they know is using it and they see the benefit, or someone they trust is recommending it. So for us, what happened was the dealership network that is there in Multiplex. So these are the guys who own chemical shops in their village, right? So they are the ones who sell pesticides, or they are the ones who are renting out tractors already. So that sort of market reach is already, the channel is already established, because so it was a no-brainer for us. So Bullwork, initially we partnered with Multiplex, so they came on board both as an investor as well as our marketing channel partners for this, and that is and we have been working very well towards together with each other. So they understand the technology as well as they understand what it takes to make some products like this fit in. So we have had a wonderful journey with them. So as I said, right, we came together because we wanted to make electric tractors. Why electric tractors? Again, is India sells about 1 million tractors every year, and is the largest market for tractors in the world, right? So there was a term called tractorization in India. Tractorization, right? Everyone uses tractors for everything. So the farmer uses a tractor to plow the land, like take stuff from his farm to the market, or bring pesticides or fertilizers from the market to the field. He takes his family in the trailer to the next village if there is a wedding that is happening. So they end up using tractors for everything. So it's really something that they hold very dearly as well. So there is a lot of potential for these tractors. But when we started conversations with Mr. Mahesh Shetty also, he kind of made this very interesting remark. He said, guys, okay, look, there is a lot of mechanization, at least partially in India, that has happened during the crop sowing phase. So use tractors and equipments to say till the land, to prepare the land. You have some machineries to put seeds, right? To sow the seeds, you have a lot of these things. And then you have mechanizations, or machines are being used for harvesting. So you have harvesters, you have balers which automatically harvest things for you. There is very little mechanization that is happening in the crop growth phase. So as a first challenge, why don't you guys look at a product which might also answer that segment, because it's a very niche segment, not a lot of players are there, and we kind of reflected on that thought, and it kind of made sense that at an EV level, I mean, obviously we did not, all of us had come from different backgrounds. I had come from an aerospace background. I am into aircraft design and controls. Vinay was coming from a construction background, so where he is designing large construction machines. Hemant, as I said, he was coming from an EV background, right? So, but none of us had an agricultural background. So we decided we can quickly prototype and design a very revolutionary machine. So this has always been our trademark, that we answer questions which have not been asked. Okay, how can you make this machine really different in a way that it just works, right? What is the right approach to it? Just because there are existing machineries of that, design, we don't necessarily have to copy them. So we are starting truly from a clean slate. So what is a good clean slate design to start out with? So before we really started working on the tractor, we started working on a product called Warrior. So Warrior is, I would say, we started development of this machine in October 2021, right? Just after we were formed, and we partnered with Multiplex. And Warrior is, I would say, even then and even probably now, is the world's first fully electric high clearance boom sprayer. So it's a machine which has a very high ground clearance. The idea is the machine can carry close to 1,000 liters of pesticides mixed with water. It could be pesticides, it could be herbicides, any of the inputs that is usually used, and it can go over the crops. It has a very wide boom, close to about 12 to 14 meters of boom. So this machine can consistently spray consistent amount of inputs and very quickly onto a field. So it can cover an acre in about 4 minutes.
Okay.
So it's very fast, because the alternative to that is people either wearing knapsacks, so it's like a school bag people wear,
this one.
and they spray. Or nowadays what was happening was they had a tractor which had a pump and a barrel. So they stand at the edge of the field, because the tractor cannot come in the field because you already have the crops. The crops are already grown. So they pump and they walk with the with a pipe which is spraying. But it's a very manual process, right? This is the prevalent practice in India today. So we said, okay, we will tackle that problem first. So and we asked ourselves the question, okay, now there are existing machineries in the world, but none of them are electric. They all have a diesel engine, a lot of these configuration. One of the main challenges is these machines topple over very easily.
Okay.
They're tall, close to about 4 and 5 feet ground clearance. CG will be very high, and you're carrying with 1,000 kgs of load, right? 1,000 liters of water, and you have to cross bunds. You have to go into farms are generally, it's not very well.
It's not a flat land.
It's not a flat land, definitely. So there was one company in India which is working on this diesel machineries, and the biggest issue for them was the machine keeps toppling. So they have to carry some load and cross a bund, and the machine just topples. A lot of injuries to the operator, sometimes death. So a lot of issues for the machinery. So obviously, if the machine falls,
True.
you probably have to scrap that machine. So we started with the Warrior, and we run fast. That's our motto. So within about 4 months' time, we had the first proto build ready, right? You know that's the machine that is there. So that's the first version of the Warrior. We'll take a shot later on that, right? So we quickly went to that. From that, and we started testing. We started getting a lot of data. So our philosophy has been the same thing. First, fail fast, get the data, right, and then learn upon the data and implement the data. So that's how the product development is happening for us. So we started with that, and probably by February of 2022, we already had that machine running, and we showcased that product to some selected dealers of the multiplex network. We got a lot of feedback, what is right and what is wrong with that machinery, and from that stage, we made a next iteration. Which took us about 5 months, and we made the version 2 of the machine, which is standing there. And we made several of those machines. Some of them are in Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan region at the moment, where we started doing extensive field testing there in the actual peak summer conditions. And we have got a lot of feedback, and we have made a smaller updates and the third iteration of the machine. And those machines, you can see them.
The purple ones.
The purple ones. So those are the version 3 of this series of machines, and we feel that is the right product market fit. It has everything that a market will require. So that's our philosophy. It has been our philosophy that we want to start with the clean slate, ask ourselves the question, what is the right electric solution for this, and what is the right future solution for this also. Like if I'm looking at 5 or 10 years down the line, the machines cannot become obsolete. How can we add more value to our customers, right? So build and test and learn from it, and quickly iterate over. And this is the agility that I would say is the biggest advantage a startup will have compared to a larger company. So a large company, for example, companies like John Deere or Mahindra might take about 4 years for this product development to happen.
Just because they have a structure.
They have a structure. They have a lot of process built inside them, and they cannot navigate around this process, and they cannot pivot fast. So they cannot change the decision as quickly as we can, right? So if I see a problem that is there, and we know the solution to it, we can implement that solution right away. Right? So that is the agility that comes in a startup, and across our machines. So that's our first prototype development. So and when we started in 2021, we were a very small team, about 12 people in total. So we were all very hands-on. So we designed. We were in all the calls with our vendors to get the sourcing done. Even in the build, we did not have the factory set up yet. So we were in a small workshop in Pune, where we rented a very small floor, or like a workshop, and the entire machine was built there. And we built the chassis. We brought them to our office. So our office is in Mahalakshmi layout. It is a house. It's a house with a large basement. So we brought the machine in the basement, and we did the wiring ourselves. So that also made everyone in the team kind of aware of what is there. Okay, design is one, but how does it actually go while the build is happening, right? This sort of learning is invaluable, if you ask me, for a team, and that helped the same engineers who built the machine build much better machineries in the next iteration. So again, as I said, that has been our philosophy: build fast, learn from it, and iterate faster, and get hands-on. So as you can see, now currently a lot of fabrication activity and assembly is happening there, and our design engineers are sitting in the factory right now, because they interact with the production teams, and they see the problems of their design, or the benefits of their design. So that helps them learn faster, and when you reapply the learnings, that is when you progress. Right. So that has been our strategy as well. So going forward.
While you were talking of the prototyping phase, one thing I understood was that you had a great team.
Yeah.
How do you find a great team? What do you see in a person when you're onboarding him to the Bullwork family? And how do you maintain a healthy team? Because that's also a thing, na, maybe when a person joins for the first 2 months, he's very motivated. How do you ensure that he's motivated throughout his journey at Bullwork?
I think it's a fundamental question, right? It's the team that ultimately works together to make things happen.
True.
So okay, I mean, our strategy had been a very frugal one, right? As I said, like back in 2021, in April is when we kind of formed Bullwork. And in October is when we partnered with Multiplex Group. So we had like this period of time where, Hemant quit his job and came. He quit Ola and came. I said, I had come back from UK from a PhD, and I said, okay, I want to do this full time. And Vinay was running another company and said, let's do this together. And we did not have any investors. So we were literally, in a room, sitting in a 10 by 10 room, and said, okay, let's make this happen. And what the first thing that we did was we contacted a college, Hemant's alma mater actually, and he said to his professor, look, we are looking for interns to come on board, and we were very upfront from the start. We said we don't have money, we are not going to pay, right? If you are interested to do something different, come and join us, right? And there were couple of applications that came in, and we interviewed them. And what we were looking out for was how approachable and what's the mindset for problem solving. That was something key that we were looking for, right? How hands-on are they? How out of the box are they thinking? We really did not care how much they scored. Have they passed their exams? We didn't touch their mark sheet. No, nothing. It's like how hands-on were they? How out of the box were they able to think? And the last thing is, okay, can they get the job done? Right? Ultimately, it's what matters. So we had a very young batch of people that came in, about 8 of them. Obviously, we ended up paying them, stipends. But that shows, right? I mean, they said, look, I don't mind not getting paid, but I want to learn. And that learning, I feel, is the key across all our members in the team. Willingness to learn, right? How quickly can they learn, not only about the topic that they are working on, but quickly understand others and get into that as well. So in that sense, Bullwork, we are a flatter organization, in the sense that you can be good at something, but you can also look into the other bits, right? We are very open for learning. We'll never say no to that. So we started, so that culture was there when we started. Even I, like we are all very hands-on, we kind of encourage, okay, go learn, go do this. And that sort of mentality is being shared across the 3 of us. And a lot of topics even I did not know. So you just sit and work, start studying. So get textbooks, get research papers, dive into it. And so in that initial cohort of interns, we converted almost everyone.
Okay.
So, and they are still, after 3 years, they are still with us, and driving a lot of activities here. So that was but later on as well, that was a cycle that repeated. So we always had, a team always had 1 or 2 interns who are willing to learn, who are willing to get hands-on and stay with the vehicle, stay with the design, right? Honestly, if you're looking for a 9 to 5 sort of a job, startup is not really the best place to be in, because the expectations are a lot different. You will be well suited to work in Bullwork if you're really passionate about something. For me, I'm passionate about making that low cost machines which everyone will benefit, make them autonomous. So that sort of drives me. And if people coming on board has some qualities of those bigger ambitions, right, or bigger dream aligned to this, I feel, and have all the other qualities, can get things done, are willing to learn, right, and are very hands-on and approachable. So that is the sort of qualities that we were looking in people, and that is how we have built the team. So now today we are about 65 people strong, including the production team, and you can go and talk, and it's like you will see that they are taking that ownership on and taking that initiative and feeling that that's they are driving that bit, which is very true, because within a short period of about 3 years, we not only have just tractor proto running and the Warrior machine, we also have simultaneously worked on about 6 different vehicles, right? And all of them are in various stages of completion. Ultimately, we are working towards that full ecosystem that is coming in the utility space. So, and for that, you need people who can take up initiative and really hold it and drive it through. I would say those are some of the key qualities of people working in Bullwork. Right.
That's great.
Yeah.
Also, while talking about your team, you spoke about that how you're working on automation. So, what is that you're automating, and what's the tech behind it?
Okay, cool. I mean, oh yeah. I mean, I'm personally very interested in this domain. See, there are things like slightly contradictory, especially in the agricultural thing. You can't have a very unskilled person drive a tractor, because if you have a driver who doesn't know how to till your land, it will be very uneven. It will be sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes worse, and it is not a usable sort of a thing. So you require some degree of skill to use the tractor, and driving the tractor is also not a very easy job. You have to be out in the sun, especially in Indian tractors. They don't have cabins, because of the cost implications that are there. So there is a certain degree of skill that is required. At the same time, once you have mastered that skill, it's a very repetitive job, right? You have a lot of settings that you have to do to get your plow right. Depends on the soil conditions, the rain conditions, and all. But once you do the setting, it is very monotonous activity.
It's just driving in.
It is driving in. It is driving and also making sure that the settings are correct. Just monitoring essentially. So this is the actual condition. It's slightly contradictory. You can't have a very unskilled person drive the tractor. You need someone who knows how to drive a tractor, and it's a very repetitive job. The second sort of a perspective came to us was when we visited. So in Karnataka there are these institutions called CHCs. So they are called custom hiring centers. It is like a partnership between an NGO and the government. So the idea is they pool in money, so they buy a lot of rental equipments. So and they rent out these machineries to farmers at very cheap prices.
Okay.
So in Karnataka there are about 150 to 200 CHCs, if I'm not wrong. Some of them are, but majority of them are run by the Dharmasthala Foundation, right? With the Dharmasthala Temple Trust that is there. So that with the government support, the government also gives a lot of subsidies and actual cash to run that operation. So as I was saying, typically a tractor, if you rent out outside, costs about 1,200 rupees an hour. Here you can rent it at 600 rupees an hour. Okay. So obviously farmers are incentivized to kind of rent from that place, right? So we visited a CHC and we found that farmers are coming and booking, saying that I want to use this tractor, and the booking goes for weeks ahead. And there are tractors in the yard not being run. And we asked the manager at the CHC, okay, why is this happening? So there are tractors, why are they not being used? And he says, look, nowadays a lot of youngsters are going out of villages. Right? Yeah, they are going out of villages to cities, right? So there are no tractor drivers available. So I have my tractor, I don't have an operator. So I'm just in my yard. I have about 3 tractors just lying idle. I have 5 tractors which have gone for work, but I don't have operators to run these 3 tractors. This is the case, and this is very contradictory, right? Okay, India, we have a lot of people, lot of laborers, and the tractor drivers, they pay decently well. They end up getting 50-60 rupees per acre of work that they do. Not tremendously well, but still, if you look at it, even maybe 100 rupees sometimes. So if they work for 10 hours, about 1,000 rupees just for driving, which is again not much.
On relative terms, it's good.
Yeah, but sometimes if you look at it, a laborer only gets about 500 rupees a day. Laborer, right? So then it really kind of enforced that we should automate a lot of these activities. So automation has several benefits, right, and several challenges that comes in. One of the challenges, you cannot very easily automate an existing machine. So if I give you a diesel tractor today and ask you to, hey, automate this, right? you will be spending so much money on doing all the actuators and because you need to control that machine somehow.
True.
So you need that machine to be controlled by a computer. So for that you need something called as drive-by-wire systems. So a drive-by-wire system means that most of the subsystems in the vehicle is directly managed by an onboard vehicle controller that is there.
So there is no actual link between
there are
the
no
control
major,
and
no,
the,
there are no major links. Major links. For example, for certain machines there are no links at all. For tractor there are some links because there are regulations for that. The steering, for example, should always have a physical link. Even if the tractor is stopped and powered off, you still need to steer. That is like a regulation that is there. So, but it is a fully drive-by-wire system. But you are right. So there are no mechanical links. So all of them are going into a computer. And the computer is deciding what the power of the motor should be doing, how the vehicle should be turning, so on and so forth. So making an existing machinery drive-by-wire is a big challenge. The one way to do it is you can put linear actuators, and it's a very shoddy job. And
it
it's
won't
the
be
cost,
refined that way.
it won't be refined, nor can you be comfortable with it in terms of safety and the productivity aspect of it. So when we started Bullwork, we were very sure, look, we need to automate a lot of these things because there is a tremendous amount of value that you can add. And the way we were approaching it is, we want to make systems similar to like a washing machine, right? How do you use washing machine? You put clothes in, you put some dishwasher, washing detergent, you press some buttons. Anyone, like literate, illiterate, can do those
Just
activities.
a push of a button.
Push of button, and you get your clothes washed. So similarly, we had the idea that we want to have an automation stack on our vehicles, especially the tractor, which can till the land or perform activities like de-weeding, rotavating, or like spraying in orchards or vineyards, right? As simple as that. So anyone in the farm, like a farm manager, anyone can automate it. But the idea is not to replace him. The idea is for him to do more productive things. So we are not in the game of taking away people's job, right? We want to encourage them and kind of elevate them to a better position, so they are more productive in the field. You don't need to have that person in the tractor while it is just doing that.
I was about to ask what happens to the tractor driver then.
Right, yeah. So because he can be involved in much more productive activities. He could be managing 2 or 3 tractors. He could be more productively using his skill to do other activities in the farm, because farm doesn't just involve tilling or de-weeding. A lot of other activities come in. So he can be better engaged in these activities. So that was our sort of the agenda and goal, and we are working towards to that. And then the question was, okay, how do we kind of do that? And this route also enables lot of interesting branches and roads for us. So we have classified at Bullwork 2 main segments, right? So one is called vehicle control and vehicle IoT. The other one is called operational IoT or farm IoT. So this essentially gives us, 2 sort of ways to look at. From the beginning, we are very sure that our autonomous stack, internally we are calling it as ACU. Autonomous Control Unit, but the final name would be something like BH.AI that will come on. So the BI stack essentially will be camera based system. So it's a vision system that is there, and we are working with right now we are working with high accuracy GPS modules, but finally we will be moving with a low accuracy GPS modules. When I say low accuracy, the GPS on your phone is a low accuracy GPS. When I say high accuracy, it is called RTK GPS or real time kinematics. So where you can even get like a centimeter level GPS positioning. So we'll be working with low accuracy GPS and camera systems for essentially 2 activities. One is we are using that stack to tell the vehicle where it is, what it should do, where it should go, where it cannot go, or where there are obstacles it needs to plan paths around it. So it is basically for vehicle navigation. You want to take the vehicle to a field and say, hey, this is my 2 acres of plot till. So vehicle plans the path and goes and does that. The second thing is now you have the camera that is continuously looking at things. So this enables, this really opens up a new dimension of agricultural productivity altogether.
Okay.
So now imagine we have been testing this particular thing with the vineyards in Bangalore. So vineyards, as you can know, they grow grapes for, this is especially for wine consumption. So there are hundreds of rows of crops that is grown, and they continuously need pesticide spraying. So they within about 3 or 4 months, every day they end up spraying because you need to ensure that there are no diseases that are spreading or the insects that will come in. And sometimes you also have to spray for adding a lot of pesticides, fertilizers and a lot of these things. So so the idea is, now you have a machine which can automate this process using cameras. And while the camera is not only used for knowing, to tell the vehicle where the vehicle should go, it is actually seeing the crops, right? It is actually seeing each grape crop individually. It is not, and then we can do a lot more things. Now we can do crop health detection. So we can, you're spraying it every day. So every day you can keep a tab on how the crop health is changing, right? This is the AI that we are building in, right? Now we also have things like, you're not just seeing the crop, you're actually seeing the grape bunch, in the on the crop as well. So now you can
Estimate
check,
the yield.
estimate the yield, actually see how the yield is is progressing every day, or every time you spray. We actually have a data. Okay, 1 week ago we were at this percentile, and now where we are, right? This also means that we start getting into the areas of precision agriculture. So the idea of precision agriculture is spray where it is needed, for example. So today what we do is called blanket spraying. Government says, okay, or the agricultural universities recommend that you should use so and so a percentage of chemicals across this. So everyone just sprays that, or according to their previous experiences they spray it. But sometimes a healthy crop doesn't require so much pesticides, right? But the farmer or the person doing that activity doesn't have that information, right? So they just mass spray everything in the same thing. So it's called blanket spraying. So now what we are able to do is, while the autonomous activity spraying is happening, we can see in live, in real time, what is the health of the crop, right? And as you said, predict the yield and see how the yield is moving. And wherever it is required, we can add more, and wherever it is healthy, we can in real time reduce the spray, right? So these are a lot high technology. I mean, these technologies exist in the Western markets, but the technology is very expensive. If you want to bring that sort of machinery here, it is very expensive. So our AI stack enables all of these new additional things to come out, right? Secondly, we also, the idea that we are working towards too is, it's like we are generally developing a hardware with a lot of sensors on board. So a very good analogy is your phone. So phone is a hardware which has a battery, has some sensors like cameras and gyros and IMUs, even GPS, for example. Now, using this with different apps, you can do a lot more things. With the camera and internet connectivity, you can do payments now. This was not thought of when 10 years ago, when the phone camera was just a camera, right? So you have new routes or that are being opened up, right? So similarly, we are envisioning that our hardware, we are open for third-party softwares to come and land on it, right? So, for example, as you rightly said earlier, yield prediction, right? It's something very important, because what happens today is that a farmer, let's say, growing grapes, so he harvests the grapes, and then he has a very limited window before he has to sell the grapes. Right? So he cannot really afford a lot of time for to optimize his returns that he's trying to get. Because if the guy buying says, I won't buy it right now, he's forced to sell at a lower price. Right? So he doesn't have that arbitrage to make it happen. But now, if the farmer knows before the harvest that he's exactly going to get about 20 tons of high quality grapes, before the harvest is happening, he can actually arrange with a certification saying that look, this grapes has this sort of a quality, right? He has proofs that can come out. So this enables the farmer to kind of negotiate a lot better prices. This also helps negotiate the customer, the end customer, knowing like what he's buying into. So it facilitates both ways, and there are no extra costs for doing it.
Because the hardware is already
Because
there.
the hardware is there. The farmer is anyway using the machine to do spraying, right? So these are all added, add-ons that are coming in, the added values that come out of it. And this can be extrapolated to many other things as well. For example, insurance. This data is very useful for insurance companies if they want to insure a farmer and they know the micro level data, because now you have satellite imageries, right? Or sometimes you have drone shots to know, but they don't give you this micro level plant level data that is not available. So we can do that without any extra cost coming out. So we see that this opens up a lot of other avenues, lot of other doors, and the farmer can optimize his products that are being sold. He can optimize the amount of pesticide that he is using, and optimize the amount of labor, like he can improve the labor productivity directly as well. So a lot of things open up for us. And currently 2 of our vehicle platforms are equipped with the Bhai stack. One obviously is our tractor. So tractor can do a lot of things, like even tilling, de-weeding, spraying, all of this. And then we have one more machine called Vamana, that's an unmanned vehicle. So that is used, that primarily is working with the autonomous stack today. And that vehicle is used for our autonomy development as well.
Okay.
Right. Okay, I mean, just a quick point in this. So while we were working on all of this, we had another insight. So as I was saying, right, a lot of young men are moving away from villages. So that means there are a lot of women folk in the village who stay back. And generally, if you ask the tractor drivers, how many women are there driving the tractors? There are very few, because tractor is usually considered as or all of these agri equipments are usually considered as a very rough job, it is a rough job, right? Needs to have a lot of muscle to kind of do. It's a very strenuous job, and even with families, in rural settings, allowing women to do this,
that's a challenge.
They find it as a challenge. So here, as everything is drive by wire, we have a touch screen to do this. So they have to, so automating and setting all of these things becomes very easy. So this also enables electric vehicles in general, a lot for women folk to get employed. Right? It enables a lot of those transformations to happen as well, which is a challenge right now. And this is one, like we didn't start out solving that issue, but we are very happy that we are addressing some of this.
That's great. Also, the government has been quite active about EV adoption, and the government has always been very careful about agriculture as well. So in a way, government really matters. The policies and events taken by the government really matter to you. How have they affected the trajectory as of now? And what more do you think is needed so that the penetration becomes easier?
Well, it's an important thing that we work very close with the government, and up until now, the interactions with our government bodies has been very positive for us. So the main challenge is that I need to get the tractor certified, essentially for 2 things. One is to tell that the tractor is roadworthy, it is safe to drive the tractor on the road. Second one is to tell that it is a tractor, it can do tractor's work, right? So this enables one big advantage is that it enables our tractors to have subsidies. So I mean, unfortunately, what has happened in our agricultural sector is that people have gotten very used to subsidies. So if there is a product without subsidies,
they won't like it.
They won't like it. Even the product might be amazing, right? They would still want some subsidy on it. It's like the mentality that has grown, which is completely okay to have. So for us, the way we are working with the government is we are sitting with committees in BIS, the Bureau of Indian Standards, for example, and there are institutes just for testing agricultural equipments. One of them, for example, is FMTTI. So it's Farm Machineries Tractor Testing and Training Institute. So that institute, for example, certifies that this is a tractor, but they don't know how to certify an electric tractor because there are no electric tractors in the market yet. So we have been working closely with them to define what should be the criteria for an electric tractor, so that they can be certified. Right? You cannot certify the electric tractor and the diesel tractor the same way because they have different performances. They have different metrics that you have to kind of certify it for. So we have been working with them closely on that. Up until now, I think the EV tractor was not the main focus. I would say up until like 2022. But since 22-23, we have started seeing a lot more activity from the government side as well, because now they are seeing a lot of companies, startups like us, visiting them and asking them about it. So we are hoping in the next 6 to 8 months, we have a full certification standards that are passed, the bills that are passed, that will enable electric tractors to be certified. And on the other side, there are subsidies by the government to adopting electric vehicles faster, right? The FAME subsidy, for example. So we are also kind of requesting and working with the government to kind of see if tractors can be put into the FAME subsidy as well. And that really benefits the end customer ultimately. So for any new technology to come in, technologies like this, especially for an agricultural sector, these sort of subsidies will definitely help the farmer, the customer buy it with a little bit more confidence, right? So that is what we are kind of working towards as well.
Okay. Now to sum things up, you have been in this journey, you have started from zero, you have come in such a big space. What have been your key learnings and how have they adapted you to be a better entrepreneur?
Okay. Oh yeah, well, it's been like a... Okay, let me put it this way. I don't come from a family of entrepreneurs, so it's like a first-time entrepreneurial journey for me. So I feel my experiences will be slightly different compared to others, right? For me, I think the biggest learning, out of a lot of learnings that we had, as I said, our philosophy is we do it fast, fail fast, learn and implement, right? So there are a lot of learnings that have happened in that way. But for me, I think the key learning is, see, when we started Bullwork, we just wanted to prove that something like an electric tractor can be made, right? Because when we were talking to people for funding, for partnership as well, it is a very risky business. Can we make a tractor first? Would be the question, right? Can we make a POC work? So I started with a lot of POC mindset. Like, can we just make one system work? That was our mindset. But I think over time, what has happened is, if you focus on just making the POC work, we will make the POC work. And then the question will be, okay, what next? So as an entrepreneur, I think the key learning I have got is always have a large, 10-year picture or a 15-year picture as well. So we need to kind of balance both a POC, like what we can do right now to prove out that we can get a vehicle out, right? As well as where the vehicle should be 10 or 15 years down the line. So we should be thinking about systems and dreaming about, how the machineries are going to be used in 10 years time. Like what is the most efficient way of using it? So, just to give you an example for this, we are kind of now having a discussion on, okay, what sort of charging standard should a tractor adapt to, right? But if you look at our Indian scenario right now, there are some charging networks that are coming out, but it's not like well penetrated everywhere, right? So now the question is, okay, probably the 3 year before, Harsha would probably just look at, okay, what is like the easiest one we can get it done, that we should probably adapt, like maybe a home charging should be fine. But I think the right answer now is that our tractors should have very fast charging, high DC charging, which means that I can top up the tractor from say 20% to 90% in 20-30 minutes time. So that sort of fast charging enables farmers to quickly use, even during heavy operations, and not and charge for half an hour or 1 hour, and again go back to one whole days of extreme hard use, right? So this sort of having a larger vision, I think, is something that I learned like not just focus on the next 2-3 years, but focus on the next 10-15 years, what it should be. As I said, everyone has their own learnings. For me, this has been very useful one, and I think a lot of first-time entrepreneurs probably might make the same mistake. Right? They might just say, okay, I want to focus on the POC. Lot more on where it should be like 15 years later, because you will not be confident. Okay, we'll be there for 15 years, right? But we will be there 15 years if we start planning for 15 years.
True.
So yeah, that's been my one of my experiences there. Right.
Great experiences, great learning. It was lovely talking to you and having you on the show.
Thank you for the nice questions as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, all the best for your podcast.
Thank you.
Good.